annual and first virtual Fit and Fabulous. I am once again one of your pre-show hosts, Latoya Sloan McGraw, and our media. Yes.
I learned so much last night and I was actually able to quickly implement it. I went home after that HBCU party, I got it in. Now I know, Sir Latoya, you went to an HBCU, so you remember those parties, don't you?
Yes, I remember.
And so tell me, like, what was one of your favorite highlights going to an HBCU?
Oh God, besides the party, it's the lifelong relationships. Myself, I actually was initiated into the sorority while I was there, so it has been a super experience that I had from even meeting my mate all the way to um, just enjoying the life.
Awesome. That's good to hear. So after I worked up a sweat, I went home and washed my face. And I can tell you that I actually feel the difference already. And then I also remembered that my scalp is a garden. And so there's just little things like that that we learned last night that we were able to quickly implement.
Well, me myself, I use my Urban Hydration face and body cream, and so yes, so I got a more natural look today. Besides that, working up that sweat, I lost my lashes. So Urban Hydration helped me to, moisturize a little bit today.
Yeah, and I actually used eye remover last night. And so I did notice the difference after I washed my face, how much more makeup I had on. Because I
Yeah.
actually put on makeup yesterday, which is not something I've been doing during COVID. So, yeah, it was really good to just be able to go ahead and implement those very easy, practical steps. And so we want to remind you, don't forget to drop in the chat where you're joining us from. I know last night we had people who were all over the DFW Metroplex in Irving, in Mansfield. We actually had Louisiana representing and South Carolina. So it was amazing
Yes.
that being virtual actually allows us to have a greater impact. So thank you so much for adding your comments. And again, don't forget to tell us where you're joining us from.
And also, some of the things that we went over last night, the Crown Act, that is a very important opportunity for us as African Americans to represent ourselves and have one more right that we need in the future. So with that being said, if you would like to support the Crown Act, please go to crownact.com and sign the petition. Remember, it's not just for you, it's for your future, your children, and their legacies as well.
Yes, and it impacts both males and females in the black and brown community. So please make sure you go in and sign the petition and also share it on your social media because we want as many signatures that we can to bring awareness to this issue. We want to end discrimination.
All right, now let's recap a few things before we get to the countdown. One, please go and download the program for today. Please look at our sponsors and vendors who have supported us and actually making this event a success. Without them, this would not be possible. So we're asking that you go out there and support them how they supported us.
Yeah, so again, make sure you support our fabulous sponsors. All of these great raffles we have is because of our partnership with them. We also want to make sure raffle winners that you text your name and email address to 972-360-8672. And remember, this is an interactive experience. So we want to make sure that you put your comments, your questions in the chat. We do have several people that are monitoring several aspects of our social media to make sure that those get to us. And then you can't have an event without hashtags in today's. So we have several hashtags for you to choose from. You can do all of the above or your favorite. My personal favorite is hashtag AKA 1908.
Well, mine's for today is hashtag AKA Taro.
Okay,
Oh.
yes. And then we also have hashtag, AKA Fit and Fab. And yes, we got to remember the two in that. Yes. And then we also want to make sure at the end of today's session that you give us feedback, because feedback is a gift. We want to hear about how great this session was and anything that we can do to improve for our next session here. And so with that being said, again, don't forget, drop in the chat where you are. We also want to do a little bit of just some Q&A. All right, so you ready for me this time?
I'm ready.
All right, so tell me a little bit about what have you done during the pandemic to protect your mental health?
Okay, so if you know me, you know I've been protecting my mental health a long time.
So even before it was a thing and had a name.
So one thing that I do is definitely I get massages. A lot of us, you just don't realize how much tension you can build up in your body just from our regular days of day work, life in general. So to actually get those muscles relaxed and released, got to go to somebody with the magic fingertips.
Okay, and so thinking about muscles and releasing, we want to hear from you in the chat what you do to protect your mental health. And I can tell you what I've learned to do is to actually exercise my no muscle, to really focus on the things that matter most to me and my family and things that represent my brand. So that was not something that I was always very comfortable doing, but I learned to do it. All right. And so, again, don't forget, we want to hear from you. Interact with us, engage with us, drop your comments and feedback on the chat. And we want to make sure that we share this last video with you. And so we are getting ready to count down for our morning experience.
Yes. So you guys get ready to sit back and relax and enjoy the phase of Fit and Fabulous 2. Once again, I am your pre-show host, Latoya Sloan McGraw, with my counterpart,
Roberta Tolan. Enjoy.
Enjoy, enjoy, enjoy.
Good morning, good morning. Oh my goodness, I had a good time last night.
I did
You
too.
did too?
Yes.
This was
what
fun.
a treat.
Yes, and I just want to be very clear that I too washed my face last night.
Oh, so did I.
You did?
Very good,
You made me
Psychelia.
feel some kind of way. I'm like, no full face at night, so I did that with a reluctant thought of like, I think I need to do this more often.
Look at you taking
Yes.
those pointers. Okay.
I took those points.
Yes, ma'am.
Girl, I am fit and fabulous.
Yes, you are.
Now that drink is gone because it's early morning, but we've got water. Every time you hear the word fit and fabulous, we still drinking.
Take a drink.
Water. All right, I'm Psyche Terry. I'm one of your hosts today. Thank you so much for joining us again for our second annual Fit and Fabulous Expo and our first virtual expo. We are so excited to have you today. We've got a lot of fun going on here. This is brought to you by, of course, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated with the Tau Rho Omega chapter. I'm just thinking about this Fit and Fabulous that I just said, the Tau Rho Omega chapter, and also specifically Women of Pearls Community Action Foundation. And Urban Hydration is a proud sponsor of this expo. Thank you so much, Urban Hydration. And if you don't know, I am the founder, my husband and I, of Urban Hydration. We're so excited to be sponsors.
Thank you so much, Psyche. And while she takes a drink, I am Jaretha Northcutt. We are so glad to have you here with us again. We have an amazing program planned for you today. Please do not forget to check your virtual program guide for the schedule. We would like to thank our diamond sponsor for Health and Wellness Saturday, Medical City Hospital, Louisville, for their support. We cannot present this program without their generous support. We are honored to have the CEO of Medical City, LaShondra Barberin, here with us today.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Very excited. So excited about being here to represent both Medical City, Louisville, but more importantly, representing my phenomenal sorors of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us. You're right here in Louisville, yes?
Yes, I am. Right there on I-35, been serving the community of Louisville, Carrollton, Highland Village, and Flower Mound for over 40 years. I've served as the CEO there for the past 6 years, and it has just been the greatest blessing to be really an extension of our mission, being in service to all mankind.
Thank you so much for joining us this early Saturday morning. We appreciate your support.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for doing everything that you're doing to advance health and wellness.
Thank you. Okay, now we have in studio with us today Gwen Kimball, president of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Tau Omega chapter. Gwendolyn?
Good morning. I am Gwendolyn Kimball, president of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Tau Omega chapter, and I am delighted to welcome you all back to day 2 of our second annual and first virtual Fit and Fabulous Health and Wellness Expo. Today, allow me to introduce some of our special guests. We have with us this morning Mrs. Shelley Looper Wilson, International Secretary of the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and the 24th South Central Regional Director. Mrs. Mina LaGrange, President of the Women of Pearls Community Action Foundation, as well as the second Vice President of the Tau Omega chapter. She also serves as the South Central Region's Chairman of Business Partnerships and Sponsorships. We have Ms. Markeisha Johnson, First Vice President of the Tau Omega chapter, as well as our program's chairman. She also serves as the South Central Region's Chairman of Communications and Publications. We have Ms. Nicole Harris, Chairman of Target 2, Women's Healthcare and Wellness. And finally, Dr. Terrellyn Scott Winful, Chairman and Visionary of the Fit and Fabulous Health and Wellness Expo. Thank you all so much for being here with us today. Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated is a 113-year-old organization founded with the mission of service to all mankind. The current administration, under the leadership of Dr. Glenda Glover, has a structured service model made up of 5 key targets. Of those targets, Target 2, Women's Healthcare and Wellness, is the target that our Fit and Fabulous Health and Wellness Expo falls under. The Tau Omega chapter supports this target with a number of service-based initiatives. They include heart health, breast cancer awareness, care for the caregiver, nutrition for life, and this initiative, Fit and Fabulous Health and Wellness Expo. Again, thank you all for joining the members of the Tau Omega chapter who live, work, and serve in the communities of Carrollton, Louisville, Coppell, Flower Mound, and Irving. We are that group of women dedicated to our service, and we are reflecting a vision of sisterhood and service, and we do it fabulously.
Oh, yes. You did not say fit and you did say fit and fabulous.
I said it a couple times.
Yes, you did.
Okay,
Yes, you did.
take a drink. Here we go.
Yes.
Bottles
You
up.
were fantastic. Thank you so much for joining and having all of us join together. We had a good time last night.
Oh, absolutely.
We talked about hair. We talked about nails. We talked about inside. Well, mostly outside, but now we're going to talk a lot more about our inside. And today, with all these phenomenal guests, we also have Dr. Beth Thomas. Dr. Beth Thomas is joining us, and what I love most is she's going to talk about losing pounds, losing weight, getting fit. So today is the fit side, inside of Fit and Fabulous. Let's talk to Dr. Bethany Thomas.
Good morning, Dr. Thomas. How are you? Thank you so much for joining us. Could you please unmute yourself? I think you're on mute.
You know what? I was.
Thank you. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Happy Saturday. I'm so
Happy
excited.
Saturday.
In all my excitement, I forgot to unmute myself.
No worries. Thank you so much for joining
Yeah,
us today.
thank you.
So, Dr. Thomas, can you tell us a little bit about how much water we should drink in a day?
Yes, definitely. So, and I have to tell you, I love that you all led off with this question because water intake is actually my number one secret to maintaining a flat stomach, trim waistline. Everyone always asks me this. So super, super important. What I usually tell my clients to aim for is between 100 and 128 ounces per day. Now that sounds like a lot, right? You guys don't be like overwhelmed by that number because a lot of us, because we're already, pretty low on hydration, I always tell people take it one step at a time. So if you're just doing, say, like 2 bottles of water right now, that would be about 34 ounces. Start increasing it gradually, right? So like you can start today and aim for, hey, I'm going to increase it by 4 ounces today, and that hopefully can help you to kind of gradually increase over time, one step at a time, your water intake without it being super overwhelming.
Absolutely. Hydration is super important. Thank you for that information. Tell us a little bit about the 80-20 rule. I've heard a lot about 80% of our fitness is going to be diet, 20% is exercise. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. I am so passionate about this. So happy, super happy to share. What I can tell you is that when it comes to weight loss, and I like to say permanent weight loss, right? Because a lot of us, and no judgment, this was totally me, we go through this up and down where we lose weight, then we gain it back. We lose weight, we gain it back. There's a lot of yo-yoing. So when it comes to permanent weight loss transformation, nutrition is absolutely the most important factor. It is absolutely the most important factor. Exercise can definitely be good for, your emotional, your mental health, helping you to maintain the weight loss, once you've lost it. But when you're in that weight loss phase, you absolutely have to focus on nutrition. Right? That is the most important factor. And a lot of us, I think what we'll find is that, for a lot of us, it's actually easier in some ways. And, you ladies can tell me if you agree, in the comments. A lot of times I think it's easier for us to think about the exercising part because that part is it's like 30 to 60 minutes of your time, right, per day or however many times a week that you can work out, you can sweat, you can kind of see the results. Whereas your nutrition, when you look at, shifting that or changing that, it can seem overwhelming, right? And nutrition is something I think that we all think about pretty much 24/7, right? I mean, I'm from South Louisiana and we eat, that's like a part of our lifestyle. So I think a lot of times it can seem overwhelming, but I want to encourage you guys that, it does not have to be overwhelming. And I say that coming from the standpoint of someone who hates to cook, right? Hates to cook, and someone who has maintained her weight loss for 7+ years. So I hope that's helpful to everyone out there and that answers your question. Focus on your nutrition, right? Number one priority. We've got limited time and resources as, busy women. So we want to focus on what is really going to shift that scale and drop those pounds.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So importance is hydration and nutrition. Dr. Thomas, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate all these absolutely fabulous tips. Thank you.
Where can we find her? I've got to know more about keeping my weight right.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yes. So happy to tell you. I would actually love, if it's okay with you guys, I would actually love to share my Instagram handle. You guys can follow me on
Yes, definitely.
At BMT Coaching. I also have since you all asked about weight loss and what's most important, right? I actually have a free secret podcast that I would love to share with you guys.
Yes.
It's called The Actual Path to Permanent Weight Loss Transformation. 4 short episodes, and it gives you everything you need to know about that path. So if you guys want to text hashtag AKA, again, that's hashtag AKA, and text that to the number 334-478-2965. And I can repeat that if you guys need me to.
Yes,
or
please repeat it one more time.
Okay, that's 334-478-2965.
Perfect. Thank you so very much. I love what we got a chance to hear today about I'm going to call it, because, I have a 6-year-old, and I think sometimes in her thought process, and what I heard was no more yo-yo. Okay? I know my baby girl Faith would know that. No more yo-yo. We can't do this back and forth thing.
Absolutely.
No,
Health
we got to
is key.
get down and stay down.
Yes.
I love it. That was so good, Doctor. We've got some really good, talented guests. But before we go any further, we have got to give a shout out, a thank you, oh my goodness, you are amazing, to Miss Ann Mayer. Ann is with Susan G. Komen. You all know we are coming up on an important awareness month with Susan G. Komen. She is with, she's here with us today. And we're going to talk about, we're going to say hello to her. And more than anything, I want to bring a nice big hello to these beautiful nail polishes. Don't forget, polish with a purpose. So celebrity nail artist Bernadette Thompson has partnered with Women of Pearls Community Action Foundation to present Women of Pearls nail collection benefiting Sister Network Dallas. Don't forget, you can buy that at BernadetteThompson.com. And don't forget to post your polished pinkies on social media.
Thank you so much, Psyche. We enjoyed that segment. Now we have our first raffle of the day.
Solus Mammography introduces Smart Curve, the first mammogram designed around the curve of your breasts.
I mean, I'm really excited about Polish with a Purpose and these nail polishes, and I usually go clear, so I'm loving the pink. I don't know, which color do you love?
I'm loving all of them. Actually, I like multiple colors on my nails.
I love it.
So I could actually do each one of those and represent our pinkies.
Love it. Okay. Well, we've got a lot in store for you all, and I hope you're enjoying yourself. Let's do a raffle, because I think it's about time.
I think so.
To win some Urban Hydration.
Of course. And now we will have our first raffle.
Let's go.
All right, welcome back. Well, we want to do a few shout outs
Okay,
first.
what is going on?
We would like to shout out to Jackson, Mississippi. Thank you for being out there and watching us. We see that you're there. We also have from Louisiana. We have Greenwood, Louisiana, very close to my stomping grounds in Shreveport. Also, we have Katy, Texas. We also have Wiley, Allen, and Houston, Texas. Thank you guys for being a part of our show today.
Yes, most definitely. Thank you. And I am so excited to announce our first raffles of the day. And so we have Noah Danziger Merritt. You have won Urban Hydration, and we also have Dominique Wilburn, who has won Urban Hydration as well. And then Kevin Beasley, you have won a Cafe Brazil gift card. Kevin, I don't know who you are, but I love, love, love food. And so if you're looking for someone to help you with that gift card, I'm your girl. And again, don't forget, for raffle winners, make sure that you put your name and email address in the chat so that we can make sure that we get that information to you.
Well, don't forget, not in the chat. You gotta
Oh, yeah.
You gotta text it. Text it to 972-360-8672. Once again, 972-360-8672. All right, let's go back to the stage.
We are so excited. So we have won some stuff. We have learned some stuff about keeping our bodies fit and fabulous.
I'll drink to that.
We've got a lot of really good guests today. And what I'm loving most about this Expo is I'm learning a lot of information for free, right?
Absolutely.
So mental health,
Absolutely.
hair health, skincare health, inside and outside. It's so informative. So here we go. Let's talk with some more amazing guests that, again, free information. Let's talk. So we've got Health in Her Hue here with us today to talk. We've got Health in Her Hue, and we have Tiffany Jones, an infertility specialist. We've got Dr. Jantel Jordan, a psychologist, and Dr. Kimberly Presley, a gastroenterologist. I'm beyond excited and grateful that you three have joined us to share with us your knowledge in the healthcare field. Whenever will I get all three of you women in a panel share with me all of your amazing information? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate every single one of you. We would like to recognize Health in Her Hue before we get started, our platinum sponsor for this morning. Thank you so much, Health in Her Hue. Thank you. Okay, as we get started, like Psyche said, we have Dr. Tiffany Thomas and Dr. Kimberly Presley and Dr. Jantel Jordan. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a few questions for you this morning. We're so excited that you were up early with us. Hopefully you got your steps in this morning before you came on, as we have. Thank you so very much for joining us. Okay, so let's talk about mental health. So, is it true that African Americans don't get therapy? And if so, why?
Okay, so I know that one's for me.
Yes, Dr.
So
Jordan, yes.
I will definitely say that the numbers are definitely changing right now. Previously, there were a lot of restrictions due to access and just a lot of stigmas and things like that that people would see in the media and different places that maybe they had learned or had bad experiences. But I have definitely seen an increase, I would say, in the last few years. And especially since the pandemic, there has been an increase. Some of the things regarding like African Americans not getting treatment also is the intersection with religious views and spirituality. And then also thinking about not knowing really what therapy is. I think a lot of people have misconceptions that you're going to go into a room and just lay on a couch and someone's going to tell you all these things that you should be doing or what you're doing wrong. And that's actually not the case. That's not what therapy is. So for providers, we are just here to help guide you to get to whatever goal it is that you have. But yes, it was true, I think, just for access purposes previously and just history in general. But now those numbers are definitely changing.
Yes, thank you so much for that. So, Dr. Jordan, at what point should we seek help of a psychologist?
So I would say it's always great. It's like a car with like how you get your oil changes and things like that. It's always better to go before you get to that point where it's like, I have nothing left. And so just to go in and get a like a checkup, if you will, like how you go to any other doctor, mental health being just as important in that, because it really is a team approach as far as your mental health, your physical health, like medical health, all of that stuff goes together.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jordan. Dr. Jones, we have seen an increase in deaths of pregnant women having babies. Can you please speak to that? We know that that is absolutely not okay, and that should not be. Can you please help us understand what's going on?
So there's a lot of things going on with Black maternal morbidity and mortality. From the beginning, there's a distrust from the Black community and the medical community because of things that have happened to us from the past. Unfortunately, this distrust can also have ramifications where we're not seeking the care we need before we get pregnant. So not knowing you have diabetes, not knowing you have high blood pressure, and then not trusting that medical advice. And there's also a lot from the medical community where we're not heard. So when you come in with pain and abruption, which is the placenta detaching early from the placenta, that can be missed because it's, oh, she's just complaining. It's not true. It's not real. So it's from both sides, but it's really detrimental to our health and the health of our babies for this to continue.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Jones.
We've got so many different levels of information here to help us with our wellness. Audience, if you're like me, you are taking mental notes or written notes or notes on your cell phone, but please ask your questions now in the chat. We want to hear from you. This is free information today for us.
And for each of our panelists, what is a good source of medical information on the internet? And we'll start with Dr. Pursley.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. And what a fabulous program you guys have put together. So as was stated earlier, I'm a gastroenterologist here in Dallas. And when I have patients come in, I implore them to avoid using Dr. Google. And if there are questions, please, there's a lot of ways that you can communicate with your provider, right? So most of us have patient portals and lots of information on our professional websites that will also provide a number of links. But in my purpose, I usually refer folks to the NIDDK, which is the National Institute of Digestive Disease, and that will provide them with peer-reviewed information. And I think that's a great source. WebMD is a very, very good source for a number of digestive problems. But I would implore the audience, talk to your physician. Drop a line and try to avoid doing those Google searches.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Pursley. I think you're kind of talking to me.
Dr. Google.
Yes, Dr. Google.
Dear Dr. Google.
Don't. Stay away from Dr. Google.
Okay, stay away from Dr. Google. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Pursley. And while we have you, Dr. Pursley, it says here, we say that when should we start getting our colon screenings? Of African Americans, we should probably start a little bit earlier than most demographic groups. Can you help us with that?
Yeah, thanks so much for asking that question. So fortunately, the guidelines have changed in the last few years. The old guidelines recommended that we begin colon cancer screening at the age of 50. The newer guidelines have recommended that we start colon cancer screening at the age of 45. With African Americans, we are seeing more advanced cancers at younger ages. So I'm thrilled that we've dropped that number back down to the age of 45. And I think with the untimely passing of Chadwick Boseman in August of last year, that raised an awareness. So The problem with getting screening any sooner than that is that most payers will not cover a screen at the age of 40 unless there is a family history of a parent or a sibling with colon cancer that was diagnosed under the age of 50. So 45, you should be talking to your primary care doctor about getting that referral to a gastroenterologist to have that discussion about colon cancer screening.
Thank you so much. So tell me, what preventative measures can we take to improve our GI health?
So exactly what you ladies are doing in your program. It all starts with a healthy diet and getting physical activity. It really is that simple, and also knowing family history. So when we provide our bodies with good things, fruits and vegetables and grains, when we exercise on a regular basis, when we're staying hydrated, those things will help keep our GI tracts healthy. There's something called, there's a microbiome. So there are these bacteria in our GI tracts. And we know that if we feed and fuel these good bacteria with good food, it will keep us healthy. So good nutrition, regular exercise, hydration, adequate sleep and rest, all of those things are going to be important. And again, knowing your family history. If there's a family history of colon cancer or other digestive disease disorders, discuss that with your primary care doctor to get the appropriate screening at the appropriate time.
Thank you so much. We would like to welcome Dr. Quinn Capers to our panel as well. Dr. Quinn Capers is a cardiologist at UT Southwestern. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Capers. Sorry.
We've got some heavy topics here. My goodness, Dr. Capers, you know, this is really, really tough for me just listening to all of this awareness, and let's talk about awareness. I'll pop this one over to you, Dr. Capers. This is a question from the chat, and it's really a question from my heart, just wanting to encourage my family and my friends to get out and go to the doctor. So someone from the chat said, how can we encourage those who are reluctant to see a doctor during the pandemic?
So thank you for the question. First of all, thank you for allowing me to join you, for the invitation. It's so good to see everybody here. And I'm looking at the panel. Am I the only guy on the panel? And
Yes.
If so, yes, I like that. So I'm so happy to be with you. So that's an excellent question, because, you know, when the pandemic first came out, if you remember, a couple of years ago when we were really in the thick of it, or a year and some time ago, the message was, don't go to the emergency room, don't go to the doctor's office, because COVID's all in the air and you might catch it. And so appropriately, people now have some concern about going to the emergency room or going to the doctor, and that's unfortunate. So you need to get your checkup. You need to go and see your doctor. All doctors' offices now, we understand that we're in a pandemic, have very important protocols to keep you safe. So they might ask all the people who come into the office to be tested to make sure they don't have COVID. They're, of course, going to ask you to wear a mask, and the people there in the office will wear a mask. They might, in the waiting room, have you socially distanced. In fact, they might even spread out the appointments so that they can be socially distanced. So it is safe to go and see your doctor. So please don't let the fear that you might catch COVID at the doctor's office keep you from going to see the doctor. And please consider as strongly as you can getting the vaccine. If you've not gotten the vaccine, we ask you to please consider that strongly. Have a conversation with your doctor. I just heard the segment about not relying too much on Dr. Google, not relying too much on your cousin or your niece or your neighbor for your information about the vaccine. Please talk to your doctor about the vaccine. We can beat this. It's taken a terrible toll on the entire globe. We can beat this. I mean, this vaccine is a godsend. So we never tell people to get it, but we ask you to please strongly consider getting this. And if you have questions, talk to your doctor.
Wow.
Thank you so much, Dr.
Yeah,
Capers.
listen, I was that person not willing to go to the dentist. I figured my mask was on, so you didn't know what was going on anyway. But we have to go to the doctor. You're absolutely right. We've got another question from the chat, but this one's heavy. Dr. Jones, I've got a question for you from the chat. You ready? Here we go. For the women that are over 40 years old, what are your recommendations for those that still want to biologically experience motherhood?
Yes, so we all have to be cognizant of the natural course of our fertility. It peaks in our 20s, in our 30s, mid 30s, it starts to decline. And in our 40s, the success rates for natural fertility can be as low as 5%. Though we all know people who've had pregnancies in their 40s, so it's not to say that it's However, you want to be cognizant. I think there's someone else who has So, 40s get pregnant? Yes. Is it safe for women in their 40s to get pregnant? Yes. With the caveat is if there are health concerns that someone has, having preconception counseling and getting your body ready for pregnancy is important. But also checking your fertility status is very important because some of us may have a great deal of difficulties, and it's recommended after the age of 35 to only try 6 months before you see someone like myself or your general OB-GYN to get an evaluation. So I don't want to scare anyone, but it's definitely something that you want to be proactive about and not just wait and see what's going to happen, because even with fertility treatments, they can be lower success rates in your 40s and especially in your later 40s.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jones. Well, we know with this COVID season that we've been in, it's not a season, it's been almost 2 years now, that there have been certainly some mental stresses on a lot of us as mothers, as parents, as partners, and we are having some serious mental health issues. So, Dr. Jordan, how does our family history affect our mental health?
So there definitely are, for some disorders, a genetic component to it. But also, like I tell my clients, that what you see growing up is kind of what you emulate, and your family is the first source of attachment. So how you learn how to be in romantic relationships, how you learn how to be in friendships and things like that. And also another thing, especially in the African American community, realizing that there is a lot of secrecy that goes on. And so you may not know like family history of someone that may have had like previous mental health difficulties. And so you don't even know to have the conversation about a predisposition to like depression. If you're growing up in an environment with a parent or a guardian or even like a sibling or someone who has a mental health disability or disorder, knowing that you just being around that can increase your odds for certain mental health disorders or diseases. So,
okay.
So it definitely plays a role. It can play a role.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that information. So we have now with Dr. Capers. When should we see a cardiologist? I know most of the time, people that I know don't see a cardiologist until there is a problem. But at what point should we see a cardiologist?
That's a great question. It turns out that most of the heart diseases that we spend our time treating have precursors. And those precursors, or we call them risk factors, things that put you at risk for heart disease, are things that can be very excellently and superbly managed by primary care physicians. And by that, I mean general internists, family physicians, and in some cases, OBGYNs. And what I mean by those are things like having diabetes puts you at risk for heart disease. Having high blood pressure puts you at risk for heart disease. Having a positive family history. So if you've got a history of heart attacks or heart surgery in your family, that puts you at risk for having heart disease. If you smoke cigarettes, And if you do not participate in regular physical activity where you get your heart rate up and keep it up for 20 to 30 minutes, that puts you at risk for heart disease. So if you are a young person, so teenager into your 20s, you don't necessarily need to jump right to a cardiologist. But if you have high blood pressure, you need to get that managed. If you have diabetes, you need to get that managed. If you have high cholesterol, you need to get that managed. And you get that managed by your primary care physician. And then that primary care physician, that general internist or family physician, or in some cases, an OBGYN, when they are having trouble or losing the battle with controlling those risk factors, or if they suspect that there's something going on with your heart, that's when they refer you to a heart doctor. And then, of course, if you have some heart crisis, like a heart attack or congestive heart failure or a stroke, then you go right to a cardiologist. But what I would like everybody to take from this is know what your cholesterol is. Just like you think about all the times that you log onto a computer and you got to remember your password and your login. You know how that makes you crazy? But I bet you've got that memorized. I bet you've got your social security number memorized. You should have your cholesterol memorized. What is your total cholesterol? And the bad stuff that clogs up arteries, that's the LDL cholesterol. You should know that number. You should know what your blood pressure is. And you should work on that with your primary care physician. So to answer the question, when do you go to a cardiologist? When your primary care physician feels like they're losing the battle with your blood pressure or your cholesterol, or if you're having severe heart symptoms, then you go right to the cardiologist. So I hope that's helpful.
Very, very helpful. Thank you so much, Dr. Capers.
You know, they are so much better than my Google searches.
Yes, this
I'm
information
just like,
is so much more
wow.
accurate.
It's so good. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to have y'all here. We've got another question, and I personally know a lot about this. I'm from Michigan, but I lived in Texas and LA and Louisiana and Vegas. Every time, new people, new hairstylists,
Yes, ma'am.
new chapter. What about a new doctor? How, from the chat, what is a good way to find a primary care physician or a specialist after moving to a new city or state? This one is for either of you.
So let's start with Dr. Jordan with our GI specialist.
Wait, so you're asking me about, because I'm not the GI specialist. I was like, oh, no, that's not me.
My apologies. No,
Either
this
of
is
you,
a
actually.
psychologist. You're the psychologist.
Yeah.
My apologies.
Yeah.
But we can start with you,
Yeah.
Dr. Jordan.
What do you
I will
think?
say, when going to a new place, really, if you have insurance, being able to look on the back of your insurance card, there will be different numbers and websites for each like specialty that you're interested in. For mental health, it'll either say mental health or behavioral health services. And you can call that number or look at the website and look at the providers that are covered in network for you. There are also different online platforms like Psychology Today that you can go through and look at different profiles. And then you can actually narrow it down by gender, by specialty, by area, location, by price, and all of those other things. So those are, and there's a lot of other platforms like Black Girls Therapy, a lot of podcasts and things that give out a lot of information. Sometimes you can just ask your doctor, because we all network with each other and refer each other, like patients to each other. So if you have a specific thing that you're wanting, if you talk to your doctor, then most likely we'll be able to give you a referral to someone else in that specialty.
That's so intelligent. You all are the doctors, okay? And I can tell, because I think when I moved to Texas, I looked at like who's closest to me,
Yes.
or if we had the same like birthdays, or if they had kids that went to my school. So just totally not the way she just told us to do this. So
Absolutely.
Thank y'all so much for that really, really good information.
Thank you so much to our panelists today. And we would like to hear a final comment from each of you. And we will start with Dr. Capers.
One of the best things you can do, I would love to see you in the grocery store, at a football game, at a park, doing something like that. And what I want to do is try to not see you on the cath lab table or coming to see me emergently. The best way to do that, the best way to protect your heart, is to know about your risk factors. What is your blood pressure? What is your cholesterol? Do you have diabetes? And then work with your primary care physician to control those things, and do something 3 to 5 days a week. 5 days a week is better. That gets your heart rate up and keeps it up for at least 20 to 30 minutes. That might be riding a bike. It might be a brisk walk. If you're a jogger, it's jogging. Tennis, if you're good enough at tennis and your partner is to keep the volley going, that's good. If you play tennis like me, like they hit it to you once and then you got to go search for the ball, then that's not enough. You got to do something to get that heart rate up. But doing that controls your blood pressure, keeps your blood sugar down, keeps your arteries healthy. So think about that. What are you doing 5 days a week that gets your heart rate up and keeps it up for at least 20 to 30 minutes? That's a way to keep your heart and blood vessels healthy.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Capers, I completely agree with you. I would rather see you in a grocery store than in your office. So, Dr. Jones, do you have a final comment for us?
So I'd love for women to really take their fertility into their own hands. If you're single and you're in your 30s, consider freezing your eggs. And then because Black women have a higher propensity for fibroids, making sure that you're with an OBGYN who's going to check and to hear your concerns, get an ultrasound. Don't let people take your uterus if you want to have children, because it's really hard after that. And just really be proactive about leading the life reproductively that you have envisioned for yourself. And get the COVID vaccine, please.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much to each of our panelists on today, Dr. Jones, Dr. Pursley, Dr. Jordan, and Dr. Capers. We appreciate all of your expertise that we've had on the show. Thank you so much. And now we will have a raffle. It's time for another winner. What do you have for us this time?
All right. So for our raffles, what we want to make sure we let you know is that you are participating through our Zoom link. And so you are eligible for raffles that way. We also have several winners that we want to share with you. Savannah Vardan, you have won Urban Hydration. Charlotte Brown, you've won Urban Hydration as well. Sheila Lumar, you've won Jovan Bodywork Personal Training Gift Certificate.
All right. And also, we would like to shout out to our guests that are out there with us. Thank you for whomever is all the way from Fort Belvoir, Virginia. Welcome to our Fit and Fabulous event. And then stepping through in their boots are our Texas families from North Texas, Farmers Branch, Carrollton, Crossroad, Fort Worth, DeSoto, Grapevine, McKinney, Addison, Garland, and Louisville. Thank you guys for supporting us and being there with us for today's event.
Yes, and now a word from one of our very special partners, Solus Mammography.
Solus Mammography introduces Smart Curve, the first mammogram designed around the curve of your breasts, proving that Solus Mammography introduces Smart Curve, the first mammogram designed around the curve of your breasts, proving that after all these years, Solus Mammography continues to build on our very first promise. Peace of mind for those who need it most. Solus Mammography. The shape of the future, the shape of you.
Sponsor, our diamond sponsor, Dr. Charles Tolson, Alpha Orthopedics. Dr. Charles Tolson is the CEO of Alpha Orthopedics and an orthopedic surgeon who specializes in knee and hip replacement. He has offices in McKinney, Prosper, and Sherman, Texas. He was voted in D Magazine Best Doctor for several years, as well as Living Magazine for the last 4 years in a row. Thank you, Diamond sponsor, Dr. Charles Tolson. We also have our platinum sponsor. We would like to recognize BSW Digestive Diseases and Medical Weight Loss. Baylor Scott and White Digestive Diseases and Medical Weight Loss, Dr. Terilyn R. Scott Winful, our very own, and their chair of the Fit and Fabulous Health and Wellness Expo. She is a board-certified gastroenterologist and obesity medicine specialist. She was voted in D Magazine's Best Doctors in Collin County in 2021. We have to remember, if you don't move it, you may lose it. Here to show you here to show you how is Queen Smith and Psyche. If you play your cards right, you can get fit. Queen. Is she here?
Yes. Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I am doing well. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here with us today. You are the founder of Cardio Cards, correct?
Yes, the personal pocket trainer.
Yes. I am loving this idea. So tell us about Cardio Cards. How did you come up with this idea?
Okay, firstly, my husband and I, we're in fitness. My husband's name is Tyson the Transformer, and we own a gym together in Plano. We started having children. The first child, everything is going smooth. I'm able to get back into the gym, snap back, about 8 months. Second baby comes along. It's a little bit tougher for me to get back into the gym. And it was very, very hard for me because I couldn't understand how this is taking a toll on me. I have my own gym. I'm paying rent. I can't get there. I still have this baby weight on me, and I'm suffering. I'm struggling. A third baby comes. So the third baby comes, and I'm really having a tough time losing weight. And I'm calling my husband, like, what can I do? I can't get out the house. I refuse, and I absolutely refuse to pay $30 extra at LA Fitness because we have a gym, And so my entrepreneurial spirit was coming on. My husband was trying to give me workouts at home. One day he just said, man, we got a deck of cards in there. Just do push-ups on the black and do sit-ups on that on the red. And then something just came to me and said, I'm sitting at home. This could be really helpful if it could be done in a different way, where it could be for whole families, and it could be for moms that do have children that can kind of help them get through a workout. And I tell you, bada boom, bada bang, Cardio Cards came in because at the end of the day, we all just have to really take care of our hearts. We heard all the other doctors say the same thing. So that's what Cardio Cards came about, because these basic exercises we give you come from me being a veteran of the United States Air Force. And so I had to take it back to the basics. And like I said, God gave me something within my entrepreneurial spirit. And there goes Cardio Cards, the personal pocket trainer. It's just like having me or my husband right in your pocket. And you can do this anywhere. So that's how Cardio Cards came about. And it's just flourished from there. And now I'm on the Fit and Fab Expo 2021.
Yes, thank you so much for that. We know that fitness is definitely an important part of our nutrition journey and our fit journey as well. So tell us how Cardio Cards work. What do we do with these? Tell us.
Certainly. Let me grab my deck real quick.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to tell you, this is what happens. As soon as you get the cards, they're going to come in a regular, box or whatever. We have 9 different versions, right? So you're going to get your box, and as soon as you open it up, we're going to have instructions in here. So you have an instruction card, and the very first thing we're going to learn how to do is stretch. We're going to stretch for at least 5 minutes. You're supposed to stretch for at least 12 minutes before any exercise. So all you do, like a regular deck of cards, most of us know how to play spades or gin rummy. So you take these and you shuffle them up, and what's going to happen is as soon as you put that deck down, you just flip. And when you flip over, it's going to tell you exactly what to do. It is very simple. I'm not sure if y'all can see that up close, but that says what? 4 push-ups. It shows you how to do the push-up. So that's what you do. 4 push-ups. And you do the entire deck until it's one side up or one side down. And you are definitely going to start breaking the sweat, because all we're trying to do here is get you to get at least 30 minutes of activity going on. So that's all you do. You shuffle them up. And every time that you shuffle these up, on a different use, you get a totally different workout. This is over 400 combinations in here. And we're not going to leave you hanging. We also have a meal plan in here, because we don't want you to just work out. You need to learn how to eat as well. So that's how you use cardio cards. You use them exactly what they say. Do the entire deck. That is your entire workout, as if you were in a session with a real trainer.
Absolutely, I love it. Fitness and nutrition. We have a demonstration for you. In studio, we have our very own Psychelia Terry. She is going to be demonstrating with Queen. So Queen, show us. Pull a card. Let's play the game. So show us what we need to do.
Game. Okay. So we're going to play the game. Okay. She's getting stretched out, as you can see.
Yes,
right?
she is.
I'm not sure if y'all can see me all the way, but pay attention to my lovely model over there. What is going to happen is, first things first, we're stretching. She's stretching it out. So I'm not sure if y'all can see me, but put your arms up. Of course, we want to do some stretches where, we're stretching our arms back and forth. I'm going to go through this very, very quickly, because you can hold the stretch for 60 seconds in between or whatever. Dr. said she's getting herself warmed up. We go across our chest. We touch our toes. We sit on the ground. We stretch it out. We, spread our legs apart. These are all the stretches you can do really, really quick. All right. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready, because this is designed to take up to 30 minutes. That's all that we need to take care of our hearts. So tell me when you're ready, love.
We are ready. We are ready for the first card.
Okay. And I want everybody to see this too as I do it. Good thing I have a model so y'all can see exactly what she's about to do. I just pulled a couple of cards at the top of the deck. I have no idea what she's about to do, but I'm going to tell her.
Okay, we're ready.
Unfortunately, my love, the first thing you have to do is 10 sit-ups off the top. So you see here, it tells you 10. So each, like hearts, diamonds, so each category has like the same specific exercise. So on this one, the hearts are sit-ups. It'll go like that.
Well, at least they're not burpees, huh?
There's a surprise in there. So we do have a little joker and a big joker that's going to pop up on you every single session.
Oh, okay. So the jokers have activity as well.
Yes, because that's going to give you your extra boost of cardio that you need. So you don't feel like you're just doing the same exact 4 exercises over and over, and you think that you're getting redundant. You're not. You don't know when you're going to pull those jokers. You don't know what those jokers say. So she already did her 10 sit-ups.
Yes.
The next thing that we pulled out of here randomly was 9 push-ups.
Back to the floor, 9 push-ups.
She's already sick of it. And this is good.
Okay, she's on her toes.
Yeah.
The proper push-up.
Exactly. Look at me. And you can do these, ladies, on your knees. So the next one that pops up, my model will show you exactly. She'll show you how to do it on your knees as well. That's how you do it, ladies. If you can't get it all the way through, either one is going to get the job done. Now, we also have the face cards. If you happen to purchase your deck, which I hope you do, all the face cards are going to be 10, just like normal. 10 squats, my love.
10 squats. So as we are pulling cards, so do they get more advanced with the face cards and the jokers? Is that how it's designed?
Yes. So those designs are, as soon as you get to the face cards, as soon as you get to those jokers, that gives you just the extra. Other than that, you'll be doing pretty much 80 to something sets of each exercise, because again, it goes ace to king, like normal. And so each, category is going to have ace to king in it. So you're going to have to complete that. 3 push-ups.
Okay, absolutely. So do you have cardio cards for women over 65 years young?
Why are you asking me such a question? I didn't leave nobody out. I didn't leave anybody out with these. I have 9 versions, and all 9 of these versions have something to do with me. So yes, I have that deck, and that deck is my blue deck. I'm going to show you. So with cardio cards, when you go to the website, getcardiocards.com, it's going to ask you just to choose your color. Whatever color is going to apply to you. So yes, that would be my lovely people here in the blue. This is you, active seniors. This is what y'all are, because we give you exercises that's made for you guys. It's made to keep in mind you may have arthritis or weak limbs or something of that nature. So we have something for everybody.
Yes, let's demonstrate one of the blue cards.
Okay. The blue cards again, popping out, pulling up a card. With this one, you are going to be doing up front, my lady.
And this question is from the chat.
Okay.
What do we have?
5 air jabs. So you see how that lady is standing? You stand like you're going to be punching somebody in their face, right? And you air jab it out 5 times. And you just need to stay stationary and say, get away from me. There you go.
So that is 5 on each arm, feet shoulder width apart.
No, it goes just, 1, 2, every movement counts.
Perfect, perfect. We have another question from the chat. This is awesome.
Okay.
So how would we order our deck of cardio cards?
How you order your cards and you figure out what your color is www. It's www.getcardiocards.com. I apologize about that.
No, thank you so much. And we also have a promo code FITandFab21. That is FIT, the letter N, Fab21. And her website, once again, is www.getcardiocards.com. And that promo code is for 20% off until December of this year. Okay, we have another demonstration for Psyche. Can we pull the next card?
Yes, your next
We
card.
got to get her heart pumping. Let's go.
I know, I'm trying to pump it up. So it'll go faster when you do it, but 7 jumping jacks.
So 7 jumping jacks.
Yeah, and if you want me to, I'll go in between the decks so she can get some different ones, but I'm trying to give her all the ones out of the original.
So the original deck, that's the red deck that we are looking at. What do your other decks entail?
The other decks are going to entail, like I said, I left nobody out. And the first little color we have is pink, of course, and the pink color is for ladies only. Ladies, most of the times we only care about arms, abs, and our glutes. So it gives you more of a toning regime, a toning exercise. It gives you all that. Like I said, my daughter, this is the whole reason why cardio cards happen, because I never have time to myself. But at any rate, the next one is going to be the purple deck, which is for teens and tweens, because I heard in the last panelist, we have a problem with childhood obesity, especially during the pandemic. And I also have an overweight stepdaughter. So that's a whole nother reason why I have to create that version, because we're active over here. So I like to get her moving. And that's made for, again, for people that have a little bit more weight on them and kids that need to stay active. It helps them to get those exercises that'll quickly chop them down. You already saw the blue deck, which is an over 55 deck. I have a green deck, which is all athletes. That's a tough one because there's a lot of burpees in that one. But again, you're athletic, that's what you need. There's a red deck that's for bodybuilders and performers. Bodybuilders and performers don't really like to do cardio. They like to get really stuck or whatever. And so that's what they're for, to get them open, because a lot of times the hearts go out. So that's why we designed that one that way. I have a white deck, which is the veterans deck. The veterans deck is going to also give you the workouts for people that don't have limbs or just can't use certain parts of their body. And then the yellow deck is a maternity deck, because people still are having babies and still stay active, because I've been pregnant 3 times. So that's that deck. So there go all of your decks. And then we have a black deck. That's the complete training. So you just constantly moving. So it's just wherever your exercise level is, we have something for you.
Absolutely.
And tell my model that she is at 15 burpees.
15 burpees. Okay, while she does her 15 burpees, Queen, we would like to thank you so much for joining us today. Don't forget to go to www.getcardiocards.com for your 20% off until December 2021 with Fit and Fab 21. We would like to thank you so much for joining us today. I absolutely love these cardio cards because they are pocket size. You can also take them in your luggage, in your purse, and it is absolutely a fabulous way to stay fit. Thank you so much, Queen, for joining us today. And don't forget to get your cardio cards. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, also, we have our platinum sponsor recognition, which is Core Vascular Services. We would like to recognize Core Vascular Services. Timothy C. Pringle, MD, is a board-certified vascular surgeon specializing in vein care and endovascular surgery. He is located in Carrollton, Texas. He was voted in D Magazine Best Doctor in Collin County in 2021 and Living Magazine. His philosophy is intervention improves quality of life, but lifestyle change improves lifespan. And now we have a raffle. It's raffle time. Who doesn't like presents and free presents, free gifts?
Free gifts.
Okay, it is raffle time.
Awesome. And remember, for you to be eligible for the raffle, all you have to do is be a registered participant and on this session. And so for our next round of raffle winners, we have Victoria Williams. You've won Urban Hydration. Natalie Camille Noble, you've also won Urban Hydration. Deanna Searles, you've won Jovan Bodywork Personal Training Gift Certificate. And then Tamara Moss, you have won cardio cards. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And just a quick reminder for everyone, if you go to cardiocards.com and use the coupon FITINFAB21 through December 21st. So make sure that you take advantage of that. I'm trying to figure out which color card I am. I think I'm going to go for the blue cards.
I think I'm going to stick with the pink.
All right.
All right. Also, we would like to send a shout out, you guys. We have someone that is way from San Francisco, California.
Oh my goodness.
They made sure to text my phone to say, hey, I'm on. So, hey out there, thank you for being a part. And another shout out to the ladies of Tau Omega chapter. We just want to say thank you guys. Once again, another successful event. Back to the stage.
Thank you so much to our lovely Roberta and Latoya. Thank you. Psyche,
Yes.
you did that.
Whew.
You are glistening.
I am
Girl,
glistening.
look at you.
Listen, that's Urban Hydration and sweat.
Oh, is that
all
what it
together.
is? You know what? That's the perfect combination. You look amazing.
Why,
That is
thank
a
you.
great
Thank
combination. We would like to spotlight another sponsor here, our platinum sponsor, CV Roman Medical Society. CV Roman Medical Society, a local chapter of the National Medical Association, is a community of physicians in the Dallas-Fort Worth area whose mission is to advance the practice of medicine for people of African descent via education, advocacy, and health policy. The organization also promotes health and wellness, aims to eliminate health disparities, and access to care. Thank you so much, CV Roman Medical Society.
All right. What a day. Okay, just to be clear, hair care.
Yes, ma'am.
Nail care.
Got you covered.
What else? Mental care.
Yes, skin.
Skin care.
Uh-huh.
You know, I'm all down here with the...
Can't forget about that.
Can't forget all of that.
Can't forget about
we went
that.
all the way in here. We went
Yes.
from my GI tract down to my ovaries.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
went from my heart all the way. We have touched it all. I mean, and we did some jumping jacks.
Yes, you did.
And some burpees. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Yeah,
Thank
right.
you.
That was awesome. I had so much fun. But we are so excited. I mean, this thing just continues to go on and on. It's like the gift that keeps on giving. Thank you so much to this chapter. My goodness. Let's now talk to Dr. Carol Estelle. Dr. Carol Estelle is just amazing in infectious diseases. We are so excited to have you here with us. Dr. Carolee Estelle, thank you for joining us today. We've got some questions for you, and I'm sure we'll have questions from the audience.
Absolutely. And thank you all so much for having me here.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Let's jump right in. So, Dr. Estelle, question. Tell us a little bit about, we know that in this climate, this COVID climate that we are currently in, that some people are for, some people are against the vaccination. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Tell us how the vaccination benefits us.
Absolutely. So vaccines are created to help us, our immune systems, fight these infections. So if it's okay, I'll briefly take you through some of these, some slides to articulate some of these benefits, how they work, and some of the a little bit of the few of the frequently asked questions. Next slide, please. So first, I want to articulate that how important it is and how we can to reduce the spread of infection. And there's multiple ways that we can do that. One being masks that we've all become very familiar with. They help prevent those respiratory droplets that carry those infectious virus particles from spreading to other individuals. Physical distancing also reduces that risk of those respiratory particles getting into others. Hand hygiene, so washing our hands very regularly keeps us clean and free from other germs that will reduce that risk of us getting them. And again, vaccination, so strengthening our immune systems to fight against any potential infections that come against us that we target. Next slide, please. So these vaccines have been studied very extensively, and they've been found to be effective and safe. They're strongly protective against severe disease and death, and they still provide protection against the variants that we've been experiencing as they've evolved. And you cannot get COVID-19 from one of the COVID-19 vaccines. And right now, there are 3 approved vaccines here in the US, 2 mRNA techniques and 1 viral vector technique. And it's still beneficial for people who have gotten the past infection to still get the vaccine. So in the next slide, we'll show you a little bit of how these, next slide, please, these vaccines work. Next slide, please. Thank you, excellent. So there are 2 techniques that we currently have available here in the US, and the first is the messenger RNA technique. And what it does is it uses a small code that codes for a part of the protein on that virus called the spike protein that really is what makes it characteristic of the coronaviruses. And it's just a little snippet of the code representing that protein. And we deliver it into the body through the vaccine, which it has lipids and some acid and base in it. And then that's delivered there. Our immune systems see that snippet, that code, and it is then able to recognize it, identify it, and mount a response to attack it if it ever sees it in the future. And in the next slide, and just us to be clear, the messenger RNA vaccine cannot give you COVID itself. It also cannot change your own DNA. The reason it can't give you COVID is it doesn't involve any of the COVID virus in its whole self at all, so it can't give you disease. And it doesn't actually manipulate or change or access your DNA in any way. And on this slide, what we have here is how the viral vector vaccine technique works. This is what the J&J vaccine is using. And very similarly, we are delivering a very small snippet of the code for this protein through the adenovirus vector that we can deliver it through there so that our bodies then have access to that code, which serves as a picture of the virus so that we can identify it and attack it if it comes again. And if you click the next slide again, even with this technique, you cannot get COVID infection from this vaccine. And this technique also does not interact with and interfere with our own DNA either. Next slide, please. So how do we know that these vaccines are safe? And on this slide, what we're showing here is the clinical trials the findings from the clinical trials that have been conducted to demonstrate or find and make sure if these vaccines are safe and effective. And just so everybody knows, this is actually the process that we use for all the medicines that you take and get from your doctor that go through FDA approval, your blood pressure medicines, your diabetes medicines, all of them go through these types of clinical trials. That's how we find out how to give them, what regimens to do, and if they're safe, and if they're effective, and if that benefit ratio is good enough to roll out to the whole population. So this is just us doing the same thing that we've done many, many times before with all the other medicines that we have available. And so these 3 vaccines were found to be highly, highly efficacious at preventing severe disease that lands people in the hospital and ICU, and death. And all 3 of them were pretty equally able to do that. There's difficulty in comparing absolute numbers because these trials were done at different times and in different circumstances. And so in terms of testing for absolute positive COVID testing, there's differences, but all of them were really, really good at preventing people from getting COVID that wound them in the hospital. Next slide. What's also important about the way that these clinical trials were conducted is that they did a really good job of actually being inclusive. They had dedicated task forces for each of these clinical trials that were dedicated to ensuring that the recruitment of these clinical trials were inclusive of participants from very diverse backgrounds, especially underrepresented minorities and age and medical conditions. So these clinical trials in unprecedented levels for vaccines, historically, typically with vaccine clinical trials, we're seeing 2 to 3% coming from African Americans and other minority groups. And in these, we were at 10, 17% for Black individuals, and STEM studies, particularly J&J, 46% were of Latinx background. So they really did do a very good job of being inclusive. On the next slide, we'll talk about how do we kind of in the real world know that this is really working. And one of the ways that we can actually see how effective these are after they've been rolled out into the general population is what we call vaccine breakthrough cases. This is anybody who gets COVID after having been fully vaccinated, more than 14 days after fully vaccinated. And of the more than 173 million individuals who've been fully vaccinated as of August 30th anyway, only 0.07% of them developed COVID disease that had them admitted to a hospital or ended in death. So that's even more really efficacious than it appeared to be in the clinical trials. And what I can tell you now that I don't actually have a slide for is that they've also been looking at the data since the Delta variant has become the predominant variant in the US. And the data is still showing extremely effective vaccines at preventing hospitalization and death, even when we're talking about Delta variant. So individuals who've been fully vaccinated are more than 5 times reduced risk of getting COVID at all, the Delta COVID variant. And individuals are more than 10 times reduced risk for getting hospitalized or death with COVID if they've been fully vaccinated. On the next slide, this slide here, what we're showing is the CDC has made this really nice figure to show us and demonstrate how different this infection rates are amongst our fully vaccinated versus those who are not. And what they're showing here is an example of a million population in a state where there's 70% of the population is fully vaccinated versus only 30% fully vaccinated. So a highly vaccinated population versus low vaccination. And the difference is these dots, these big dots, these red and blue dots represent the people who have been infected, these cases. And the case numbers in the state that has 70% vaccination is very, very low, but still, of course, some of the fully vaccinated do get infections. And on the right, you can see the much greater numbers of cases in the state that has lower vaccination. Because when fewer people are vaccinated it puts even the fully vaccinated people at more risk as well. In the next slide, this is just sort of showing us the same thing, but with our hospitalizations as well. And so in things that you want to go back to the last slide. So things that you want to expect to see when you get a vaccine is some side effects that you should expect is a little bit of pain at that injection site, maybe some swelling, some redness. This is very common. Some folks will get fevers and chills. A lot of people will get very, very tired and headache. And so when we think about those symptoms on the next slide, when we think about those symptoms that you're going to get from the vaccine, those side effects, and we compare those to some of the symptoms and the potential complications of getting COVID disease itself, things like shortness of breath, difficulty breathing, losing our sense of taste and smell, potentially getting pneumonia and having to go to the hospital where sometimes organ failure and heart problems and blood clots and even death can happen. The side effects of the vaccine that are really not always very comfortable and quite inconvenient, but much, much preferred from a risk standpoint compared to actually getting COVID infection. So on the next slide, just want to encourage everybody to continue masking, continue good hand hygiene, and let's consider getting vaccinated because all of these measures together, that's how we're going to protect ourselves and our family members and loved ones. And on the next slide, I'll just say thank you. And if you have any other questions, I'd love to answer.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Estelle, for joining us today.
I first off, I want to pay homage to who you are. We are in celebration of HBCUs, and it looks like, if I'm reading this correctly, you reign from Clark Atlanta University.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
C-A-U.
Okay, I love
Represent.
that. Listen,
Absolutely.
I am so impressed. I'm thinking, wow, we have got to understand this is such a close to the home story for us as people of color, as African Americans and COVID. You are so intelligent and so well versed in this area. I just want everyone to know why. And this is mostly because not only are you a Clark Atlanta graduate, but you did your medical degree from Boston University School of Medicine. And now you are an associate chief of infection prevention at Parkland Health Hospital.
Yes.
You are so amazingly versed, and you've helped over 45,000 patients with COVID-19. My goodness, that's why. And we have got to listen up, and we've got to definitely mask up and take the shot. Do we have any questions for her from this presentation?
Yes, we do have a few questions. Thank you so much for that amazing presentation. We really, really appreciate it. But I do have a question for you. So, can we still get COVID if we get the vaccine?
That is a really good question. And the answer is yes, you can. So vaccines, what their purpose is again, to make our immune systems recognize this virus so that it can attack it and help protect us. In many cases, that may prevent you from getting infection at all, which is great and ideal. But there are in some cases, it won't actually necessarily prevent you from getting a disease as in having a positive test, but it will prevent you from either having symptoms, and so you won't notice that you ever got COVID, or you'll have very mild illness. We also see this with flu vaccines, where we demonstrate even in the flu, where getting a vaccine, you may get the flu, but it reduces your risk of needing ICU stay by up to 80%. And so we're seeing that same level of protection from getting severe disease that lands you in the hospital. And that's really important because it's one thing for people to get these uncomfortable colds and flu-like symptoms that COVID or any other respiratory virus can give you. But we're not as troubled by people getting that. What we're troubled by is the people that are getting disease severe enough to go into the hospital and getting all the complications from that and potentially dying. That is what we really want to prevent. And that's what these vaccines do with excellence.
You are, and of course you are, but you are so much more well-versed than my Dr. Google.
Yes.
I have got to just make sure we ask you all the questions I would normally be typing. And I've got one that typed in and it didn't go to Dr. Google, it went to you, Dr. Estelle. Here we go. Do you believe everyone, and this is one of my questions too.
Mine too.
Do you, okay. Do you believe, and tell me your honest truth, do you believe everyone should get a booster shot based on science?
Oh, that's a really good question and a very hot topic right now. Right now, the FDA has formally recommended for a third dose in those who are immunocompromised. We differentiate third doses from booster shots. I know people use these terms interchangeably, but they actually represent two different objectives. And in that third dose for immunocompromised hosts, what we're trying to do is make the immunocompromised folks whose immune systems don't work very well, they usually and frequently don't actually get the full protection from that first round of vaccines the way the rest of us do. And so that third dose is to get them to have a full response the way the rest of us do. So then when we move on to the discussion about boosters, and what that is being evaluated for is waning immunity, which is it's normal and natural for our immune systems that have learned how to fight these viruses. For that sort of memory and how to fight it, and that maybe muscle memory that we use when we were talking about cardio fitness and activities like that, it's to decrease over time. As that decreases over time, increases our risk of getting severe disease again if it gets too far out. So the FDA and the CDC and their advisory committees have been looking at the data to see if we need to consider boosters for this naturally waning immunity over time. Right now, the recommendations that have been made are very clearly and consistently in support of those who are older than 65 and have medical conditions. There is right now some sort of a little more discussion involved in, do we need to be doing that for younger individuals that are in these really high risk job roles and activities?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Hopefully this information will give someone a little bit of comfort when it comes to either getting the vaccine or taking that third dose if you are immunocompromised. So another question, will there be any side effects later on after getting the vaccine or the booster?
Like next year? Like what should I expect?
Absolutely.
Extra hair?
Yes, yeah. So every medicine has side effects, and vaccines, and these three vaccines also have side effects that are very common to other vaccines that you may have had in the past. You should definitely expect to get pain at the site where the injection happens. I know I had that, and many people will feel really fatigued and tired. I had some of that as well. A smaller proportion of folks will actually end up feeling feverish, and some folks will feel like they need to stay home from work the next day just from feeling so tired and crummy. Typically, those symptoms last no more than 3 days, and so that improves well. When it comes to are we going to see more or worse side effects after getting a third dose, if you're doing one of the messenger RNA regimens, we find actually that people are having similar amounts of these same side effects if they get a third dose. So we're not seeing significantly more, although some people do have more symptoms compared to their other 2 doses, but there are others who are having less, and it's sort of washing out into kind of basically being about the same. In terms of long-term side effects from vaccines, these vaccines or really any, we have the clinical trials will continue, of course, ongoing for several years to be tracking all of that. But what we do know about vaccines in general is the timeline of side effects, of adverse effects, is typically it occurs within 2 months or 6 to 8 weeks of getting that vaccine. And that's why these clinical trials were designed based on the timelines that they were. And we do have adverse effects that do occur in these vaccines, one being anaphylaxis, which is a severe allergic reaction that you've probably heard about with bee stings and really any other medicine, a lot of antibiotics that people can have if they happen to be allergic to any components. So if you have a lot of allergies, talk to your doctor about if this vaccine has any components that you're allergic to. And then we have seen that particularly in the messenger RNA vaccines, that myocarditis is potential and pericarditis are potential adverse events that can happen, particularly in younger males. And what's good about the finding is that pretty much everyone recovered on their own over the course of days and weeks without really much intervention. So that's very good. But it is a side effect that you really want to be watching out for that can happen weeks after. The J&J vaccine, one of the major adverse effects that we have seen pop up, and again, also very rarely, anaphylaxis, the myocarditis, pericarditis, but also these clots. They're very, very, very rare, but they have seen an association rarely with blood clots occurring in women for the J&J vaccine. So you want to talk about those risks with your doctor, but these are occurring extremely, extremely rarely. So the risk of these, the benefits really are outweighing that rarity that those occur with.
Yes, Dr. Estelle, thank you so much for that invaluable COVID information. You have answered so many of my questions. Thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate all that you have shared. And now we have a raffle. We have another winner coming up
for our Fit and Fabulous.
Okay, we'll drink to that.
Okay,
here we go.
All right, out there, it has come to the end of the road for this segment. Roberta and myself are going to do our last raffle, but before we go, we would like to remind you to please download the virtual program guide. Included in that not only are the sponsors of the event, but also a list of all the discount codes that you can take advantage of due to this event.
All right, and raffle winners, we just want to remind you to make sure you text your name and email address to 972-360-8672. And now I come to the end of my Oprah dream where I'm giving away fabulous prizes. Regina Stoke, you have won Urban Hydration. Lisa Allen, you've won Urban Hydration as well. My co-host has actually won as well, Latoya Sloan McGraw. You can re-gift those cardio cards to me, girl. And then Judy Boyer, you have won a Jovan Bodywork Personal Training gift certificate. Thank you all so much for joining us today.
All right, now let's give it a sec. Oh, but before we go, let's remind you of a few things. We still, at the end of this event in the chat, there will be a link to our survey. We want to hear your voice. What do you think about this virtual event? And so please know that we will consider what you have to say.
Yes. So make sure that you also share our hashtags in your social media. And so it's hashtag AKA 1908.
Hashtag AKA TRO.
And then hashtag Fit and Fab 2.
So once again, we just want to say thank you guys for an amazing event and being out there. It's so wonderful to have an opportunity to share our chapter and our events with the world.
Yes. Again, we truly appreciate you joining us. It was an honor to be the pregame show host. It was truly a privilege. I was so glad I was invited after yesterday back for today. So again, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you found this information very informative, and you still have an opportunity to view and share on Facebook as well.
Also, don't forget to go out there and sign the petition for the Crown at crownact.com. Remember, we need your signature to make a difference for African Americans.
Yes, and again, for the Crown Act, it was super easy to sign the petition, but we also want to make sure that you are sharing it on your social media. So after you sign it, you can actually copy the link. You can text it to your family and friends for those who don't have social media, because there's still some people who like to live off the grid. We want to make sure that they sign up as well. And you can also share it on your social media platforms on Facebook and Twitter.
Oh, also, you know what? I have a question before we go. What was your favorite part of this event?
Oh my goodness. So my absolute favorite part of the event was being able to co-host with you. I've missed you so much. Look, I know, look. We haven't seen each other for close to 2 years. And so I really just miss having an opportunity to connect with my sisters. It's been a long time, and I'm just so privileged and honored to be a member of the Tau Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
Yes, and so it was a pleasure too. I was super excited when they told me you were going to be working with me as well. So it was so wonderful for us to be able to do this again.
Yes, it was. It was. And we look forward to seeing you guys next time for our 3rd annual Fit and Fabulous event. It may be in person, it may be virtual, who knows, but we are looking forward to continuing to serve you and make sure that you're informed about your mental, physical health.
And don't forget, beauty counts too. So we will still have those beauty tips for you. We'll still have those hair treatments for you. We'll still have just that fit and fab all over again.
All right. And thank you guys so much again for joining us. You have a great day and stay fit and fabulous.
Back to the stage.
We had so much fun. We did
Yes,
hair. We did skin. Did y'all have fun? Absolutely. Yes. Well, let's thank our sponsors and let's go on home and get some rest after being fit and fabulous. Where's my drink?
Okay, and we would also like to thank all of our sponsors, as our Psyche said, and if you refer to your virtual program guide, you will see all of the promo codes that you can use to purchase any of the goods that we have on today. Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next year.
Bye.
Stay fit and fabulous.
Greetings. I'm Shawn Barbarin, the Chief Executive Officer at Medical City Louisville, but I'm also a proud member and soror of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I, along with my entire team of physicians, nurses, and medical experts, are passionate about our mission. Above all else, we are committed to the care and improvement of human life. For that reason, Medical City Louisville is honored to serve as a diamond sponsor of Tau Omega Chapter's Fit and Fabulous Health and Wellness Expo. For over 40 years, Medical City Louisville has been caring for the mothers, daughters, and families of Louisville, Flower Mound, Carrollton, and the surrounding areas. My dear sorors, stay fit and fabulous.
Oh, good. We're done. Okay.
Join us next year for our 3rd annual Fit and Fabulous Expo. Hope to see you there. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right. Okay, y'all.
Okay, stay right there.
your own skin. Urban Hydration offers naturally inspired skin, hair, and body products that achieve amazing results and are gentle enough for the entire family. Urban Hydration products are loaded with only clean ingredients that make your beauty routine Visit us in-store or go online to urbanhydration.com today and read about our partnership with Water is Life.
Your breast was so much better. I didn't feel the compression against my chest wall as quickly, therefore I felt like I got a better mammogram.
Microphones.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Greetings. I'm Sean Barbarin, the Chief Executive Officer at Medical City Louisville, but I'm also a proud member and soror of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I, along with my entire team of physicians, nurses, and medical experts, are passionate about our mission. Above all else, we are committed to the care and improvement of human life. For that reason, Medical City Louisville is honored to serve as a diamond sponsor of Taro Omega Chapter's Fit and Fabulous Health and Wellness Expo. For over 40 years, Medical City Louisville has been caring for the mothers, daughters, and families of Louisville, Flower Mound, Carrollton, and the surrounding areas. My dear sorors, stay fit and fabulous.